through the eyes of her family. And we're very lucky to have two young women who are going to share their perspectives through the eyes of the patients. To my far left is Alexa Wallen, who's now 22 years old. 21, sorry.
We're getting ahead of ourselves.
That's not getting ahead of ourselves. She was diagnosed with cystic fibrosis at the age of 2.5 years old. Her first hospital admission was at 12 years of age, and she can't count anymore how many times she did come through our doors at Children's Hospital, and does admit that the respirology team at Children's Hospital and the staff of CH5 totally became her family while she was here. So we're honored to have her here to share her story. And then we have, in the middle, beside Doris, is Brittney Fox. Brittney is the champion child for the Children's Hospital Foundation this year. I'm sure you've seen her beautiful picture around the hospital and in the media and such. I'm told that she has a more eloquent introduction than I can provide for her, so I'm going to let her do that. Doris, who's always got such great perspective on family and patient care, has offered to facilitate this session so that we can get really great perspectives of caring for our patients. So thanks to you all.
Thanks, Sheila. So what we're going to do this for the last part of this afternoon, our focus is to kind of close the circle on Through the Eyes of the Family. We've done it through the whole day here and there, and some of our speakers have done all of our speakers have done a fabulous job of showing how they do that just through their daily care and daily work. And we always like to end our conference on a positive note and on an inspirational note. So we're not here to teach you any chemistry or pathophysiology, but we're here to just sort of inspire you to move forward tomorrow and next week. And so that's why we've asked these beautiful young girls to be here. And what we're going to do it quite informally. Now, Brittney does have something prepared as champion child. She's quite the professional speaker. But really, we're just asking them to tell their story, and then I'm going to give some prompts just to talk about what works. And that's what we want to take from this last session is what works in what we do, and how can you help us to make it work better. So we're going to hand over to Brittney first, and then we'll go to Alexa.
Hello. Okay. You know what I've learned living with a chronic lung condition? Is a disability is only a disability if you let it stop you from doing what you love, what you're passionate about, and what you dream for. I've always been a dreamer. Since as far back as I can remember, laying in hospital bed, hooked up to IVs, I dreamt of a life better than this. I knew that there would one day be a life outside the hospital walls. Even though as good as the doctors were to me, stepping me through every day of my life for 3 consecutive years, I wanted to get the heck out of there and get my life going. And with all the help of Children's Hospital, I was able to live my first dream. Hi, my name is Brittney Fox. Being here today and being able to tell my story to all of you, representing the hospital that I grew up in, means the world to me. Being chosen to be the champion child of 2011-2012 helped me live my latest dream of being able to give back, raise awareness, make a difference, and help children who deserve a second chance, like I did. Of course, getting to where I am today is a lot easier said than done. From the time that I was 11 months old, my life has been a constant struggle. I was found to have a rare lymphatic tumor called cystic hygroma. A cystic hygroma tumor started in my stomach and worked its way up my left side of the body, damaging my heart and paralyzing and obstructing my airway. I had surgery to get a stent put in, which is an artificial airway. To put it in perspective of all of you, breathing for me is like breathing through a straw all the time. I was taken to the hospital in Saskatchewan. They were unable to help me, and so I got transferred to the hospital in Toronto, then to the Winnipeg Children's Hospital, where I became a full-time resident for 3.5 years. The first few years were a blur, but when things started making sense to me, I always wondered where the kids were going when they left through the door. Why did they leave, and I always had to stay? Why did parents come and hug and kiss their children and bring them toys? Where were my parents? Truth is, I didn't have a family. My home was the hospital, and my family were the doctors and nurses. And oh man, did I ever think that I was spoiled when the clown came to my room to play hide and seek with me. I remember it always made me happy. I was tied up to tubes and was oxygen dependent, so I was not able to run, play, or even talk like the other kids. But even though that I was fighting through my challenges, doctors and nurses always made sure that I could be a kid. I remember people coming up to my room to play games with me and playing bingo on the TV. Children's Hospital has a television station with kids programming all the time. That was always a favorite of mine. When I was 3 years old, I began praying to Santa that I could one day find a home, that I could be loved, and one day my prayer was answered. Of course with the help of Children's Hospital, but Santa I'm sure a little bit too. They found the best family that they could send me into. Guys, I had a home. A home with a well-experienced pediatric nurse, Betty. She had met me when I was admitted to the ward in Winnipeg. It just so happened that she fell in love with me and took me home. August 18th, 1997. She quit her job working on the ward to spend all of her time with me. She helped me explore the world and start making real memories. My mom had to quit her job because I was such a health risk, and I needed to be monitored all the time. I remember the first time meeting her. I was sitting on the floor with my pink flowery dress on, playing blocks and eating birthday cake. She sat down beside me and said, "Hey Britt, I'm going to be your new mom, okay?" I looked at her and smiled and said, "Okay." And I became a foster child. The way I see it, I was born the day she adopted me. We knew the fight was far from over. Throughout many of the upcoming years, it was full of complication, with my artificial airway and half-paralyzed vocal cords. I had appointments to learn how to feed my mouth, and I had help with learning because I was developmentally delayed. Until the time I didn't know what grass or rain or snow or the trees were, my mom showed me everything. She taught me how to keep my head up high and believe that I could do anything that I set my mind to, and to live strong. The doctors here in Winnipeg who watched me grow up into who I am today, I cannot express enough love and thanks to them. Without them, I wouldn't be here, guys. Every trip to the doctor was enjoyable. At the hospital, it is one place that I can go and not feel judged or be questioned. At the hospital, they see me as a beautiful person, not just a sick kid. They smile at me and ask me about my school and my life and ask me about my plans for the future, what many didn't think I would have. Everywhere else I go, I am questioned about my physical scars and my voice, things I cannot change. What's wrong with your throat? What's wrong with your voice? Are the most frequent questions. I just look at them and smile and say, nothing is wrong with me. It's exactly how I'm supposed to be. I know the scars will never fade, and that's okay. When I see them, I'm proud. They are evidence of how hard I fought to live. Each holds a piece of history, and I know that it can only go up from here. Nobody has it down here. As for my health right now, it's better than ever. I have been able to live my dream of dancing for 15 years and be able to share my story and give back everything that's been given to me. I'm unbelievably grateful for this opportunity. Even though I know that this will be a continuous journey and the fight will never end, I have no choice but to be confident it'll be okay. Guys, I'm not lucky, I'm blessed. Blessed to have had such an amazing health community to have my back the entire way and never once give up on me. Without them, I wouldn't be who I am, where I am, or what I am today. And without the Children's Miracle Network, I wouldn't be here to share my story. I am happy paralyzed, but I can dance. And half my vocal cords work, but I have a voice. Thank you so much for listening and supporting. Thank you.
I think she gives a whole new meaning to the word developmentally delayed. I don't think so. And maybe I'll just ask you a couple questions first before we move on to Alexa. Brittney, did you ever feel, as you were getting older, did you ever have the opportunity to participate in decisions about yourself?
Well, throughout most of my life, my mom was there to step me through every decision in my life, and throughout this time I picked up on things and looking at the pros and cons and things that should be done, shouldn't be done, so I've learned a lot. And my first decision was this year when I was 18, and I was deciding whether or not to get my gastrostomy tube put back in, and that was kind of a big first decision.
So that was the first time you felt like you had to make this you were kind of on your own making it, or you were the front runner making that decision? No one was doing it for you.
Yeah, but they told me pros and cons.
So was that the best thing that we could do to help you make that decision now that you're an adult?
Yeah, I think so.
And even as a kid, did you find that people involved you in decisions, gave you the sort of information you needed?
Yeah, I was never really out of the loop. I always knew what was going on.
How did you feel this morning? We heard Christy talk about when she heard people talking outside the door of her hospital room. Did you have that experience as well? And if you did, how did that make you feel?
Talking about what they're going to do to me.
Just talking about your condition, how you're doing that day.
I don't know.
It's not something you remember. Most of your hospitalizations were when you were quite small, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, I heard people telling me about the surgeries I'm going to need, and by that time I was used to it. So I really didn't have any negative feelings about that.
Okay. Okay, thanks. Maybe we'll go on to Alexa, and then we might get back to you. So Alexa didn't prepare anything formal, and I said that was just fine. But we're going to let her tell her